Well, Happy New Year and happy first day of 2026, folks. Um, just thought I'd do a very small little video to just say what's going on and wishing you all a happy new year. 2025 was, for myself as a business and personally, was a bit of an up and down and a bit all over the place. Yes, so far up to this point, from April till now, has been one of the better years for Dow's Archery. But at the same time, I've had a lot going on in the background, a lot of failed deals, a lot of elements that I was thought was going to work and didn't work, etc., etc. I was trying to work to hopefully have 2 or 3 new stockists off the shafts. And I've had to either pull out of the deal or deals collapsed, but majority of I've pulled out of the deal, simply because I decided once we started the process of going through things, I'd done some of my own research and my own development and due diligence, shall I put it that way, of those businesses I was going to work with, and things didn't quite work or didn't connect or didn't sit right with myself for the ethos of Dow's Archery and the way I wanted to do things and progress things. Not the greatest for myself. It's knocked on a few things where I was hoping that was going to work and those monies were going to come in, and yeah, it's been up and down. But there have been a few of the stockists like Cliff at Raven Longbows, Richard and Philip Head at Richard Head Longbows, and Morgan at Fairbow, who've been absolutely brilliant and supportive. Without them, the business wouldn't have really survived throughout 2025, let's put it that way. Morgan, who has, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right, I apologise if I'm not, for like the 1/2 inch shafts, he's pushed me quite a lot to get them into a state that's come out to be an absolutely lovely finish. Getting the bobtailing done as a taper, okay, yes, there was potentially could have done more with the taper, but I'm trying to give something that's consistent as a manufacturing side of it, so I get a consistent taper and consistent process rather than trying to do things by hand and things not always working the best way I can describe it. Now, Cliff at Raven Longbows, you've got his arrow storage racks that are here. I'm not stocking these storage racks. If you want them, talk directly with Cliff at Raven Longbows. You've got his standard one, which you can put the arrows in like this, or ideally what you're meant to do is put them from each end, so you have points one end and feathers the others, and then vice versa. He can do it so they work with the 932s, 516s, and 1132s. This one here, which is a bigger version, will work with all those sizes as well, but go up to 3/8. You can make them work for 3/8, which is absolutely fantastic, and it works with the much larger feathers as well. And if you've got seriously long feathers, you can move all these things to get it all stored up. Again, contact him directly. He'll talk it through. He'll make them for you. His background of Cliff is a plastics engineer, so this is why he's been doing all the 3D printing for all of these things, arrow brushes, taper tools, etc., etc. Now, in the background, this one here, you won't see on the website, and you probably won't see on the website for a while because we're trying to develop a bit more. It's a 3/8 version, and it only does the pile end. Now, as we've done the research on it, they work okay-ish if they're hand forged arrowheads, but not everyone forges the taper or the socket quite the same. So you get part of the taper and you might have to fit a fettle and wiggle and bits and pieces like that. But for like the machined heads that Richard Head Longbows is now stocking, These will fit for most of them, if not all of them. And there are a few others that have started doing the tapers that you can buy across the internet. These should work as well. Again, everyone's tapering is slightly different, so you might have, but at least you get the taper pretty much there if you don't. And it saves you a hell of a lot of time if you haven't got grinders or haven't got belt sanders, etc., etc. It saves you a lot of time. So fingers crossed in the first quarter of 2026, I'll have those on there and a few other bits and pieces. Now, with the arrow brushes and the taper tools, you will find that you can get these from the American Longbow Company, who have now got them as some as stocked if you want them. And Richard Head Longbows has actually got a load of my 932 ones, which they may be looking at going into the other ones as well, for the 516s and other bits and pieces. And this is part of the development that this is happening, is looking at for them with regards to the 3/8s as well. Trying to do a 23/64 as well. So fingers crossed, Cliff will do his magic and we'll get there and do what you do what happens. Again, the arrow brushes, you've seen the other videos that I've posted on socials, that explains itself and how they all work. Now, if you've heard lots of rumors about Dale's Archery going around, that things aren't happening, things aren't working, I've not got stock, blah, blah, blah. To be honest with you, 99.99999% of them are just rumours of people making stuff up. If you do hear a nice, wonderful one, please message me, because I do want to laugh every now and then, because there are the odd few people who I've known for the last 20 or 30 years and I trust really well, and get their opinion on a lot of things, who message me and tell me what's going on, and it's great having a great giggle over things like that. As I said, there's lots of little things going on in the background with Dale's Archery, so I'm hoping that 2026 is going to be a good year and grow more. I'm not going to say lots of things. I'm not going to, until I know what's happening. Talking with people in Canada, talking with people out in Australia, talking with more people within Europe. But majority of the stuff is basically for Europe. Who I'm working with is Morgan at Furbo. He has been, it's been a breath of fresh air with regards to the European market with him and how we're pushing things and bits and pieces. And his ethos works exactly the same as what mine does on a lot of stuff. Get the quality, bring out what's needed, because that's how I am. If the quality of the shaft is not to what I would want or want to shoot, then I'm not going to try to sell it. And that's basically the crux of it. So that dictates of what goes on with my pricing schemes, etc., etc. Just to pre-warn everyone, potentially March, April, I may have to look at a small price increase on my retail. But that is down to what's working in the background with the timber, basically, and a few other little bits and pieces. That's why I went to 2 weeks before Christmas to go and talk to the timber importers, etc. Yes, as probably previously said on previous videos, or if not in this one, I work directly with the timber importers. By doing that, I get the pick of the crop of goods or timber. And by doing that as well, I'm not paying that extra that you would do if you were going to people like Travis Perkins, Jewson's, etc., where they put their markup and sometimes they won't let you get it sorted or sort through the timber, etc. And that's where you're aiming. If I can get a timber at a reasonable set price, and that allows me to pass that on to you guys, that's how I work. Yes, I need to make money to pay the bills, etc. But I want to work with the stockists and people who are buying directly. don't always get things right. I completely agree with that. Everything's a learning curve. If people think that where they've been on bow making courses or arrow making courses and they got a certificate at the end of it and go, I'm a bowyer. People, come on. Now, Chris was making bows for 40 years plus and we're still learning things. I know a lot of the bowyers out there that I work with or work alongside with, and Fletchers, etc. Even they are learning huge amounts of what's coming out. I've been asked a lot whether I would produce spruce shafts in the UK. I've done the investigations. I've done everything possible. You just can't get the quality of the timber in the UK without buying it in between 4 to 5 tons of it to get the equivalent that I'm buying to make the shafts here. So if I'm buying 800 to 1.2 tons to make shafts, I would have to buy 4 tons, if not 5 tons of timber to make the equivalent number of shafts. And they're still not guaranteed that will get the same equivalent of number of shafts. So the wastage on that is astronomical, and financially it's just not worth it. So I'm sticking with the Scandinavian redwood, which is the pine, which is a Scots pine, which Chris done all this research, and I've got a load of the documents, bits and pieces that the research that he done. He spent 10 years or so doing that research, looking at the cedars, looking at the spruces, and he chose Scandinavian redwood. As he put it, if the Victorians were shooting the redwood at competition level, at Olympic level, because yes, that's where they're still shooting longbows, even up to probably the 1950s, into Olympic standards, a lot of it was still the Scandinavian redwood. So why not? Yes, I do understand that redwood is potentially 12 or maybe 15% heavier. Now, yes, that's fine. But like a few people that are shooting in the UK in Archery GB who are using the Scandinavian redwood shafts and who are doing it from longbows, they are within the top 10 of the competitiveness across the country for indoors and outdoors, and sometimes even within the top 3, if not top 5, and they're shooting these shafts. So if they can get the scores, I'm sure everyone else can. Also, the redwood will take more of a battering if you're doing field archery. So if you're clipping trees, branches, stones, floors, bosses, whatever, you'll find that these will be a lot more durable, shall we put it. Okay, it's not great business for me because you won't be breaking so many arrows, so you're not going to be buying them. But for yourself, you could save yourself a little bit of money over the long term. Yes, you're going to break piles up. You break piles off no matter what you're doing because of how the pile sits on the shaft. And it's just that it's a fulcrum point, if you want to call it in structural engineering terms, or a lever point. You snap them quite whatever shaft you're doing. So that's the main reason why I'm trying to stick with doing Scandinavian redwood and doing it that way. There is look at doing tulip wood shafts, but they will be towards the larger, chunkier shafts. So you're looking only in 1/2 inch and 3/8, just because the quality of the timber is not that great that you're getting hold of now, and it only really works with those sort of sizes. Potentially I could look at the ash, but I've got to look at probably American ash, just because of the volume potentially to do it. But what people don't realize is tulip wood and the ash, particularly even European ash, again, 3 times the cost of me buying for this lot. So they will be more expensive, folks. Okay, that's what you got to look at. It's based on the timber prices of what you're paying to how you make it. So that just gives you a general overview of what's going on. Now, for the bits I've got, this is the last pack of 1132s I got, and that's the last pack of 516s got in stock. Those ones there are the 1/2 inch with a bobtail. Got loads of yarrow brushes, taper tools. You'll see Fairbows has actually got their own colour of the arrow brushes. It's on their website. So if you want to buy those, you can go in and buy them from Fairbow. You've seen the videos again, as I said before, they're on the socials and other bits and pieces. Anyway, that's enough trying to do the hard sell. I just want to thank everyone who has followed me over the last few years on socials and keeps supporting me. And let's just hope with your support and particularly the stockists of the shaft support, Dales Archery grows even more and better into 2026. Have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves. Carry on shooting. And remember, you're going out to shoot for fun. Yes, you're competing at a high level, but you're competing against yourself. Go and enjoy it. Don't make it too serious in life. Go and have a giggle. You're shooting with your friends. Cheers, folks.